A soft-spoken restaurant manager is gunned down in his own home.
I just opened the door a little bit and just looked in there and she's laying there.
She saw blood everywhere, on the walls, on the floor.
My reaction was like, no. I had blanked out.
In the crime's aftermath, the victim's girlfriend is nowhere to be found.
Just didn't feel right because she was gone. We couldn't find her. Her cell phone was gone. It was off. It was missing. Could she have possibly been kidnapped?
Working round the clock to crack the case, police uncover one horrific detail after another.
Someone had been saying that he was going to kill this girl.
He's been shot with blood and everything spewing out of his neck. He manages to get up and try to fight for his life.
All I can tell you is there was no doubt in my mind. I mean, it was pure evil is what it was.
November 22nd, 2010. On a chilly evening in Aurora, Colorado, restaurant GM Eva Baez is growing increasingly concerned. Terrence George, one of her most trusted employees, has not shown up for his evening shift.
Hey, Terrence, it's me again. Haven't heard from you. Are you okay? I'm starting to get worried.
He failed to come to work, which is incredibly unusual, especially for Terrence George.
She's completely worried about Terrence, very much unlike, particularly an assistant manager there, to not show up, to not call.
Hey, Eva. I was talking to the other employees. Nobody's heard from him. Tried to get a hold of Terrence. Nobody's getting through.
My God, that's crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna call the cops.
She calls the Aurora Police Department. They send a police officer over who goes, knocks on the door, no answer.
Unsatisfied, Eva drives to Terrence's apartment to do her own welfare check.
Terrence? Terrence, are you in there?
She knows something's wrong. So she went to the apartment manager and said, I'm really worried. Can you let me in that apartment?
I don't like to do this. It's important to respect the privacy of the tenant.
I know. I have this feeling that there's something wrong. Okay. Terrence? Hello?
Oh, no.
Terrence?
Why don't touch your hands? We need to call 911.
Aurora 911, where is your emergency? Yes, I'm the property manager here, and a lady that came into the office said her friend hasn't showed up to work, and I have the key to the apartment. We're knocking and knocking, nobody's opening, and we go in there laying on the floor.
All right, we have a call in. We're going to have paramedics and officers out there as soon as we can, okay?
Within minutes of receiving the call, police and EMTs are rushing to Terrence's apartment. Little do they know, they are walking into a web of deceit and violence so tangled it will take more than 6 months to unravel.
This is a good kid, found dead in his own apartment. It didn't make sense. It didn't add up to anybody.
We're just in shock. Couldn't believe that he died. We're just, numb.
I was senseless. It was for no reason.
Terrence George was born in 1988 and raised on a Navajo reservation outside Flagstaff, Arizona.
He had great parents, very loving, very into their religious culture as Native Americans.
Terrence's parents did their best to ensure their son knew about the family's proud history.
He participated in some of our tribal dances and ceremonies. We tried to speak as much Navajo as we could, but he preferred to speak English. Terrence grew up just like a typical little boy does, always exploring. He loved animals. He was very caring.
As a teen, Terrence also developed an interest in riflery and marksmanship.
He had a sort of a homemade range on the reservation, kind of near his backyard, where he would go out and he would take firearms, particularly loved rifles, and do target practice. He loved doing that.
By the time he was 17, Terrence had developed another all-consuming interest, girls.
During his junior year of high school, he fell really hard for this one girl in particular.
The first real serious dating that he had, he ended up having a child with the girl. So he really didn't have time to date anybody else. The cost of diapers and toys and clothes came up. And again, I told him, you take that responsibility.
By age 19, Terrence's relationship with the mother of his child had fallen apart. He decided to strike out on his own, leaving the reservation and settling in the Denver, Colorado suburb of Aurora. Terrence hoped the move would better enable him to support his son back in Arizona.
So Terrence George moved to Aurora and he got a job at a restaurant, worked hard, worked himself up.
Here you are.
Thanks so much. Hey, Terrence, may I talk to you for a second? Sure. I'll make it quick. I just want to let you know how much we appreciate all the work you've done here. You've done such an amazing job. I actually want to promote you to assistant manager.
Really?
What do you say?
Yes,
Yes, there you
yes.
go. It's yours.
Thank you so much.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate this. I won't let you down.
Keep up the good work.
He worked the night shift, being the youngest assistant manager. So he worked from late at night until about 6 o'clock in the morning. Hardworking kid.
With the promotion, Terrence's career was taking off. But in a city where he had few friends and even fewer family connections, Terrence's love life was stuck in neutral. That is, until a chance encounter one day in the spring of 2009.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Doing very well. How can I help you?
This is my niece, Tiffany. She's looking for a job.
Actually, we're looking for help. If you'd like to fill out this form, we can sit down and talk about it.
Despite Terrence's obvious enthusiasm, the young woman, 20-year-old Tiffany Durst, seemed skeptical.
I'm not really sure about the restaurant industry.
We were over there, and so I said, "Hey, are you guys looking for any help? Do you have? I don't work here. Why don't you want to work here? You want a job?"
It's a great place to work. Good people, flexible schedule. It's really easy.
She thought, "Well, he's kind of cute."
Okay. Sure.
And so with that, she decided, well, I'm going to get the job, and she did.
By the following week, Tiffany Durst had become the restaurant's newest employee.
Was just a bubbly type person. She was a people person, never was mean. Like, even if she was having a bad day, she always smiled. And if somebody else was having a bad day, she always brought them up. Everything about her, her personality, her body language, everything was positive.
Tiffany's exuberant personality and natural good looks also proved to be a natural draw for members of the opposite sex.
Tiffany, she was very attractive. She actually pulled more guys than me when we were together. She was something just out of control.
But like Terrence, Tiffany still hadn't found that special someone.
She'd always been in relationships before with guys, and she would be happy, but it was just, you could tell she wasn't like for life with these people. Like, it was just there for the moment.
But at the restaurant, Tiffany found herself attracted to the shy, kind-hearted manager from Arizona.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you.
Yeah, what's that?
Would you want to go see a movie with me?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
They got to talking, and then from there, just took off.
Terrence George was influential in Tiffany Durst's life, and it's such that he was loving, caring, and those things that can make you be your best self.
He would bring her flowers. He would tell her, "You're my girl." And I was just so glad that her desire for a man was someone who cared about her.
Let's cheers to us.
Okay. To us.
To us.
He already had a son, and she loved that kid, and she's always wanted kids, so that really attached her more to him.
She has started working. She has met Mr. George. They have fallen in love, and they're thinking about a future together.
In November of 2009, Tiffany and Terrence moved in together and quickly began planning the next step in their relationship. As her relationship with Terrence continued to blossom, Tiffany also was embraced by members of Terrence's family.
She wanted to have a relationship with George's mom because she was actually starting to fall in love with him. So I think she just wanted to get to know him, his mom, and his family.
She came to our place in Arizona. She treated us nice, was a loving person. We were good for each other.
She was like, "I have something to tell you. We're getting married." She was so excited.
But all of the couple's grand plans are undone. When friend and coworker Eva Baez discovers Terrence's bullet-riddled body inside his apartment.
It was disbelief. How could this happen? What did Terrence do? Why did they kill him? Who killed him? And for what reason?
As police search for answers, they soon realize they have a second mystery on their hands. Where is Terrence's fiancée, Tiffany Durst?
I was worried sick. I really was. I mean, it's like, what's happening? This is not the right picture here. We have a problem here.
Investigators in Aurora, Colorado are at the apartment of 21-year-old Terrence George, trying to process a horrific and altogether baffling crime scene.
Any homicide that happens, you have an on-call district attorney to come out, and then it becomes my case.
We go in, the house was in complete disarray. In the living room was Terrence George with the big kitchen knife in one hand.
There is blood everywhere. It looks pretty clear that he has suffered at least one gunshot wound, perhaps more.
Check this out. Looks like a bullet.
Yep.
It's clear he was shot with a very high-powered weapon.
It was a .223 AR-15 round and actually went through a wall into the bathroom nearby.
As detectives make their way throughout the apartment, they find what appears to be an empty gun case.
Terrence had a hobby of collecting guns and buying guns.
He had owned some rifles, an AK-47 and an AR-15, and then those were missing as well.
So where have all of these guns gone, and is it possible Terrence was shot with one of his own weapons?
When detectives discover a framed photo under Terrence's dead body, they realize his gun collection isn't the only thing missing from the apartment.
Seemed like he fell on the picture when he fell. Looked like a girlfriend or something.
In speaking with Eva Baez, detectives are able to quickly identify the woman in the photograph.
Do you know who this lady is?
Yeah, that's Tiffany Durst. That's Terrence's girlfriend.
The last thing that Terrence George saw before he died was Tiffany in that picture.
I don't know what to tell you. This is the last thing I would have expected. Terrence wasn't involved in anything as far as I know. They were both great people, great employees.
This wasn't a guy who was involved in crime. This wasn't a guy who was violent or anything like that. This was just a good kid working a job, getting started in life, basically, and all of a sudden he's gunned down in his own home.
Detectives wonder if Terrence had come home in the middle of a burglary in progress and was shot with one of his own guns.
We see all types of crime in Aurora. Everything from your DUIs, smash and grab burglaries, garage burglaries.
The apartment's totally torn apart. Drawers are open, things are flipped over, guns and rifles are gone. So a burglary gone bad is a real possibility here.
But in checking the apartment's front door, police find no sign of forced entry.
If someone broke in, there should have been evidence of the door or the lock being busted, but there wasn't any.
Do you have any idea where Tiffany Durst may be, or how can we reach her?
I actually tried calling her before I called you guys, but she hasn't gotten back to me yet.
A check of the apartment complex parking lot finds that Tiffany's car, a maroon Cutlass, is also missing. A chilling fact that raises two very distinct possibilities.
First thing I said to the detectives is, we gotta find Tiffany. Because she's either dead or she's a suspect.
While police put out an all-points bulletin on Tiffany's missing car, they meet with her family, hoping they might shed some light on her whereabouts.
The police officer said, "Can we speak to you a minute?" I said, "Well, yeah, come in and have a seat."
This was hard because the families are just now learning about the murder and that Tiffany was missing, so they're devastated. But the police really need to talk to them to see what they might know.
I'm very sorry about Terrence. We know this is a very difficult time for you. We were wondering if there was any way that you know of that we can get in touch with Tiffany.
I hadn't seen Tiffany lately. Normally she comes around about once a week. You think she's in danger?
She is really concerned because she hasn't had any contact, any communication with Tiffany Durst, and it's been 4 days.
Mrs. Durst, we know you're very close to your niece, and we know you're not trying to get in trouble. But you have to tell us everything you know.
I know you're not implying that Tiffany had anything to do with this.
No, ma'am.
They're looking at her as if she is keeping her niece, trying to cover something and doing something that's illegal and committing a crime herself.
They thought I was hiding her. I had told them when they came that I would do anything in my power. That's my baby. To get her, to find her, whatever. And if she did do something, I'll be there for her.
But Tiffany's aunt and other family members are adamant that Tiffany was not a violent person.
I knew that she didn't do it. I knew she wasn't that crazy to snap on him like that, especially how happy they were at him. I just didn't see that happening.
While Tiffany's friends and family are convinced of her innocence, investigators can't rule out the possibility she was somehow involved in the crime.
Tiffany wasn't there, so that made me wonder, where is she? Did she have anything to do with this? You can't help but think all sorts of things, you know.
But as investigators plot their next move, they uncover a surprising piece of gossip that could completely alter the scope of the investigation.
They were fighting about something, and it's unclear what they were fighting about, but it may have something to do with the murder.
It's November 23rd, and in the 24 hours since Terrence George's body was found, police are no closer to finding the person who killed him, nor are they closer to locating his missing fiancée, Tiffany Durst.
They're good detectives, but I was calling him all the time. What are you doing? We've got a good kid in Terrence George who's dead, and I got another who's missing. Figure it out.
The case is proving to be a tough one. Tiffany's been missing, so either she's involved or she's a victim.
While they wait for the APB on Tiffany's vehicle to generate potential leads, investigators turn their attention to Terrence George's autopsy.
Yes, sir. What do you got for me?
Coroner report on Terrence George. He was shot twice, once in the jaw, once in the chest, hitting him in the lung. Terrence George is brutally murdered, and it looks like he put up a heck of a fight in there.
He was fighting for his life.
The medical examiner notices that Terrence George has defensive wounds.
He also had defensive wounds on his hands. He fought back.
All right. Thanks very much.
This revelation breathes new life into the theory that Terrence might have been the victim of a deadly robbery.
Police had determined the apartment wasn't broken into, but it was still possible Terrence let someone he knew in and they took his guns.
And if this were the case, the question becomes now, was Tiffany involved in the heinous crime or was she abducted?
As detectives meet with Terrence and Tiffany's friends, it's clear that any involvement on the part of Tiffany wasn't that far-fetched.
We're individuals first, so we're not going to always see things eye to eye. So this couple is no different from that. Tiffany Durst and Terrence George, they had those times when they had a disagreement.
And when detectives meet with one of Tiffany's close friends, they learn the details surrounding one such occasion.
They were having some problems. We discovered it wasn't going well.
Tiffany Durst and Terrence George, they had those times when they would be concerned about things or beg to differ with one another.
What can you tell us about the relationship between Terrence and Tiffany?
Well, it was getting pretty bad. Terrence thought Tiffany was cheating on him.
Terrence George had some concerns of infidelity, in part because she's speaking to an ex-boyfriend.
We don't know if there was ever infidelity there. I just know that Terrence George was accusing her of some of those things.
I was at the apartment a few weeks ago and they got into a really bad fight. It got ugly. He was very upset.
Why are you lying to me?
Lying about what?
Apparently it was not physical, but it was fairly heated. So she suggested that Terrence or Tiffany leave the residence, at least for a night, to let him cool down.
She asked Tiffany to come over and spend the night, but Terrence told her everything's fine, everything's cool, we'll work out our problem.
Even though calmer heads prevailed that night, this was still something that had caused ongoing problems in the relationship.
They had planned to get married, but that plan changed. We don't know which of the two decided to call it off or if it was a joint decision, but we know that they didn't plan on following through with that.
Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Actually, yes. The night you guys found Terrence's body, he called me looking for her. He wanted to apologize for acting stupid, but he couldn't find her. He was really upset about it.
Police learned that because Terrence was unable to reach Tiffany, he enlisted a friend from the restaurant to check on her.
He wasn't able to get a hold of Tiffany, and he really started to get worried.
Friend went by the house, opened the door, looked in, and came back and said everything was fine.
So Terrence George had some concerns of infidelity. However, there was no evidence that this affair took place. But because law enforcement didn't have much to base their investigation on, Tiffany Durst was a person of interest.
Either way, at this point, they just needed more information.
That's when Tiffany's friend gives them the name of someone who may be able to sort out the truth behind Tiffany's alleged affair, Rodrigo Rosales.
I don't know if it's true or not. Someone told me that Rodrigo and Tiffany may have had something going on.
Now, there was possibility of an affair between Tiffany Durst and Rodrigo.
At this point, detectives don't know what to think, so the only way they're really going to know what's going on is to talk to this Rodrigo guy in person.
The following morning, detectives question Rodrigo Rosales at the bar in Denver where he works.
Afternoon. We're investigating the murder of Terrence George. What can you tell us about the relationship between Terrence and Tiffany?
Well, what do you want to know? I'm friends with both of them.
I heard you may have been having an affair with Tiffany.
Wait, what? Who told you that? That's ridiculous.
Rodrigo denies that he was having an affair with Tiffany. He tells police he would never do anything to hurt his friendship with Terrence.
When was the last time that you saw or talked to Terrence?
I saw him a few days ago at my place, the morning before his body was discovered.
And where were you the night of the murder?
Listen, If you guys are trying to insinuate it has something to do with Terrence's stuff, you're crazy, man. I saw him that morning and that was it. I can prove I wasn't anywhere near his apartment. I was here working all night, double shift. Look, call my boss.
Police take Rodrigo up on his offer and quickly discover he is telling the truth.
Everything checks out. Thanks very much for your help.
Sure enough, Rodrigo had been at work during the time authorities believed Terrence had been killed.
Rodrigo Rosales may be in the clear, but detectives can't say the same about Tiffany.
The fact that her relationship with Terrence may not have been as rosy as it seemed keeps her at the top of the investigators' list.
You definitely got the implication from the police. They thought that she might be a suspect. But again, they didn't know. They didn't know who was involved or to what extent they may have been involved.
It just didn't seem like it fit Tiffany's MO. We knew we had to find her. She was the key to this case.
As police continue to comb the area for clues as to Tiffany's whereabouts, they catch an unexpected break.
They receive a report that someone might have spotted Tiffany Durst.
That's when it's sort of changed. This is not a suspect on the run. This one was very different.
It's been a week since Terrence George was found shot to death in his apartment in Aurora, Colorado. And police there are desperate to track down Terrence's missing girlfriend, Tiffany Durst.
While reports of a troubled relationship certainly has made Tiffany a suspect, police aren't sure that Tiffany's not a victim herself.
With few options, detectives return to the scene of the crime in hopes of finding anything they may have missed in their initial visit.
Police had talked to most of the people who live there, but it's always a good idea to go back because somebody might not have been around the first time or someone might remember something later. And that's exactly what happened. They find two guys who think they saw something.
Hey guys, we're investigating a murder in the area. Just checking to see if maybe you had heard anything, seen anything.
There were two males in the parking lot getting ready to go to their construction job. They're loading up their pickup truck.
Yeah, we heard some gunshots.
Oh, you heard gunshots, but you didn't call the police? Can we get involved? Happen to see anything suspicious? Any activity?
They hear two shots, and then they see people come running down this outside stairway into the parking lot.
What color was the car?
Maybe dark red and burgundy.
How about the make? You know what kind of car it was?
I guess a Cutlass.
This is the exact model and the exact color of car that Tiffany's family said she'd been driving and what police had been searching for.
Let me ask you, you haven't seen this young lady around?
It's the girl. Yeah, that was who was with him. I think it was her car, but she wasn't driving it.
All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your help.
She may have been kidnapped, but they have to look at her as a suspect.
The only way for police to know for sure is to take a closer look at Tiffany's personal history and see if there's anything they might have overlooked.
So they go back and talk to Tiffany's friends, and they find out there was this guy Tiffany used to be involved with named Terrence McNeil, and it turns out he's got a pretty shady background.
Though Tiffany's relationship with Terrence McNeil ended back in 2008 and barely lasted a year, Tiffany's friends say it greatly impacted her life.
Terrence McNeil and Tiffany Durst lived together, had a relationship, boyfriend-girlfriend.
He was from Detroit originally and had been living in Denver since he was a teenager. And he was involved in some pretty serious crimes.
He really doesn't have a job. His job is to burglarize people's homes.
He was the sort of burglar who didn't really have an MO. He would go in and he would take whatever wasn't nailed down.
He just takes things and he brings them back to Tiffany. TVs and makeup and jewelry and purses and clothing and shoes.
It's unclear if Tiffany knew that all of their stuff came from robberies, but it had to be suspicious to her.
I don't know why it is, but when young ladies get to be a certain age, they have this tendency, for whatever reason, to have these crushes on the bad guy, the bad boys. It's a turn on. And that's what Terrence McNeil was, a bad boy. And I guess that desire hit Tiffany.
But the relationship came to a sudden halt.
They were in the car. He does an illegal turn, and they get stopped by police.
You got a driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance?
Police run his name and they see that Terrence McNeil is wanted in conjunction with some of these burglaries.
They pick up Terrence and charge him. And at that point, Tiffany breaks it off with him.
He's found guilty, he's sent to prison, and that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't.
Once he served his 2 years in jail, he got back in touch with her.
When he came back down to the Aurora, Denver area, he was looking to hook up with his ex-girlfriend.
But detectives learn that Terrence McNeil may have had a completely different motive for reconnecting with Tiffany.
He was convinced that the reason that he got caught for those burglaries was because Tiffany had cooperated with police. He said that she snitched on him.
But she didn't snitch on him, actually. The police never even talked to her.
So while he's serving his sentence and supposed to be rehabilitated to go back onto our streets, instead he was harboring hatred for the person he thought in some way had turned on him.
Now, the question for police is, how deep did the hatred go? Did Terrence McNeil do something to Tiffany? Or did they reconcile and plan to get rid of the other Terrence in her life, that being Terrence George, so that they could get back together?
Working with Terrence McNeil's parole officer, investigators are able to track him down and bring him in for questioning.
In early December, they interviewed Terrence McNeil.
Came in, cooperative, said, do you know where Tiffany is? No, don't have a clue.
He admitted having seen Tiffany Durst 4 times between that interview and when he was released from jail in October.
The last time I saw her, I want to say it was a Thursday, either Thursday or Friday.
And this is 2 or 3 weeks ago?
About 2 or 3 weeks ago.
He tells police he had no idea about the crime that occurred, but that he and Tiffany had patched things up.
Terrence McNeil does admit trying to contact Tiffany near the time of her disappearance, but had no luck.
Like I tried to call her.
And then he tried a couple more days after that, and every time went to voicemail.
Yeah, it just goes to voicemail.
He denies knowing anything about her disappearance or the murder of Terrence George, and he also claims that there was no romantic connection between Tiffany and himself at that time.
Did you want to get hooked up with her again?
We could be friends, you know what I'm saying? We're cool people. She's real cool as a friend. You know what I'm saying? That's just how the relationship was going to go.
Given the lack of any other information that ties him to this at that point, the police move on looking for a lead that will help point them in the direction of where's Tiffany and who killed Terrence George.
As days turn into weeks, police are no closer to breaking the case. But just when it seems all hope is lost, detectives uncover a new lead, an anonymous tip that could revive an investigation that appears to be on life support.
So someone had been bragging about being a part of a murder, somebody named Shorty.
They were hitting kind of dead end after dead end, and these 2 girls kind of came out of nowhere.
And there's like blood everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's been 6 weeks since the murder investigation of Terrence George began. In that time, police in Aurora, Colorado have discovered that his fiancée, Tiffany Durst, has been reunited with her former flame, convicted felon, Terrence McNeil.
McNeil claims there was nothing romantic going on between him and Tiffany. Of course, he doesn't deny trying to make something happen.
But given the fact Terrence McNeil wrongly believes Tiffany worked with police to put him behind bars, investigators wonder if McNeil may have targeted Tiffany for revenge, along with her new fiancé, Terrence George.
It's a suspicion that only increases on January 4th, 2011, when police find Tiffany's car abandoned in a nearby neighborhood.
People had seen it there for weeks, but they didn't think anything about it. It was just an empty vehicle. It didn't have any broken windows in it. There was no blood in it.
While the vehicle itself offers no forensic information as to anyone committing a murder, it does raise a serious question. If things were so rosy between McNeil and Tiffany, why would Tiffany just abandon her car and disappear?
The answer comes further into focus days later when a close friend of Tiffany's named Dorothea Childs comes forward with a game-changing tip.
I called the Aurora Police Department and told them I wanted to report some information about a crime on the Tiffany Durst case. And they came and we talked about everything that I knew.
Dorothea tells police that her friend Lester Miller supposedly knows someone that may be connected to the crime.
He was having relations with this girl. I guess she felt like real comfortable around him, and I guess it was eating her up, and she really needed to open up and tell somebody. And she told him they killed the girl.
On February 14th, 2011, police bring Lester Miller in for questioning.
So they get Lester in there. He starts talking about this girl, Shorty. He didn't even know her real name. But he does know that she was talking openly about how Tiffany was murdered.
I couldn't believe she was really telling me what she told me. What she told me is some guy named Little Black. Okay. That he killed this girl. He killed this chick. Apparently the girl did something to make him go to jail or something like that, and he threatened that he was going to do something to her. Didn't nobody believe it, but I guess he really did, according to her.
Police hear this, and of course they're thinking this sounds just like Tiffany's old boyfriend, Terrence McNeil.
Investigators comb through a database of known criminal aliases, but find nothing connecting Terrence McNeil to the street name Little Black. However, they do learn that in the days since their initial conversation with Terrence, he's managed to land himself back behind bars.
Terrence McNeil had been arrested on an unrelated charge, and he is housed conveniently at the Arapahoe County Jail.
He approached an inmate and he offered to sell him 2 guns.
And all the informants are calling this guy Little Black.
He's trying to get out of jail. He's trying to raise bond money.
It wasn't until he's running his mouth at the jail about his AR-15, that's when we knew where to point the needle of the compass and focus our investigation.
Investigators believe that the guns Terrence McNeil is trying to sell might be the same ones stolen from Terrence George and Tiffany Durst's apartment.
Detectives believe that if they can just get hold of one of the guns that McNeil's selling, then they could trace it back to the murder victim, and then they could connect McNeil to Terrence George's murder.
To try and nail McNeil, police put a wire on an undercover cop and sent him into the jail to have him try and purchase a gun from McNeil.
Are you McNeil?
Vince.
I'm looking for somebody who might be looking for something to offload.
The undercover detective, he's got a shaved head and a big long goatee, and he's got tattoos all over him, and he pretends he's in one of these white biker racist gangs, and he needs some high-power weaponry to take care of some business.
They dress him up like an inmate and put him down there with the inmates and try to engage Terrence McNeil in a conversation about buying those exact weapons.
Some friends on the outside that need a little help, so I'm looking for something a little pop to it.
At an AR-15, I'm trying to unload. We basically got Mr. McNeil to talk about, on that wire, some of the guns that he had and some of the evidence in this case.
McNeil takes the bait. He agrees to sell the gun. Now all police have to do is make the transaction.
But that transaction never takes place. Though they were unable to acquire the murder weapon, prosecutors still feel they have enough evidence to charge Terrence McNeil with the murder of Terrence George.
We put 2 and 2 together, and we realized that McNeil, he had the weapons that were used in this case. He had the murder weapon.
This is a bittersweet moment. On one hand, Terrence was killed with his own gun, which is horrifying.
The only problem is that it doesn't mean he pulled the trigger, and it doesn't verify the story that Tiffany had been killed too. There's no body, so there's no evidence to just prove the theory that maybe she had just given McNeil the weapon before she ditched town.
It's a mystery that lingers unsolved for 5 months until a grim discovery on April 7th, 2011 eliminates that possibility.
It's a fenced-off area. It's a couple of miles in size. It's completely brush and vegetation, high grass, wild animals, deer running through there.
About ready to head back?
An off-duty police officer and his brother, they were just walking around to pick up shedded antlers. They came across what was kind of disturbing.
Whoa. What is that?
It just looked like clothing under a bush, and then they got a little closer. They realized it was a human being.
Although the body is badly decomposed, the coroner is able to quickly ID the corpse. It's Tiffany Durst.
She had been there from November 19th till April 7th or so when they found her. A large portion of her body had been eaten by most likely some kind of wild animal.
The manner of death is brutal in that it looks like there were some initial failed attempts to try to cut her and stab her ineffectively with a knife, probably a dull knife. And it looks like when that failed, according to the coroner, that ultimately turns to manual strangulation.
The development has detectives poised to charge Terrence McNeil with 2 separate counts of murder. But before they can marshal the evidence necessary to make the charges stick, they'll stumble upon a tale of violence far worse than anyone had imagined.
This is really messed up. I was really hurt.
They just wanted to kill him for the excitement of killing. It was sick.
In the wake of finding the body of Tiffany Durst, police and prosecutors are convinced that Terrence McNeil is responsible for her murder and that of her fiancé, Terrence George.
Police had spoken to a man named Lester Miller who had secondhand information that implicated McNeil in both crimes.
She was just went into the story about this dude named Little Black and some girl that I guess Little Black used to talk to. Apparently, the girl did something to make him go to jail or something like that.
According to Lester Miller's statement, the individual who clued him into Terrence McNeil's involvement in the murders is a woman who goes by the street name Shorty.
The problem is this is hearsay and won't go far in a court of law. Confessions have to be made directly to authorities and not through a third party.
To build a rock-solid case, detectives will need to track down and speak directly to the woman known only as Shorty.
The tricky thing here is that Lester only knew this woman's nickname, and it's a fairly common one. So if they can't trace her, it's possible McNeil could get away scot-free with 2 murders.
Fortunately, when police started working with Lester, they had him look back through all of his Facebook messages, and they realized that she had messaged him. Her real name was Janelle Harris.
On April 9th, 2011, investigators bring Janelle Harris, aka Shorty, in for questioning. She denies any knowledge of the crime.
I've heard on the news and whatnot, but Black, he mentioned it, like, and he was like, did you hear about that story? Did you hear about Tiffany? And I'm like, yeah, it's on the news.
Janelle Harris told the detectives, oh, I heard about the story on the news, and the detectives are like, yeah, but we didn't put this out on the news yet. So that was kind of a red flag. And then at that point, she kind of realized, okay, they've got me. It didn't take long for her to break down in tears and confess. She got caught up in a situation she was afraid she couldn't get out of.
Janelle describes for police how on the night of November 19th, 2010, she and a friend, Tiara Holmes, became involved in a robbery orchestrated by Terrence McNeil.
She said they had just met Terrence McNeil just hours before, and he talked to them about doing a robbery.
He was like, I know she got like 50 G's from this lick that she hit, which I guess, lick is like burglarize. A burglary or whatever. So I'm about to set something up real quick. I'm about to get her.
McNeil offers them a split of the cash if they help ambush the man's girlfriend outside of the apartment that the couple shared. But in reality, Terrence didn't have cash like that.
So me and Tiara, we waited. And then that's when me and Tiara jumped Tiffany.
Describe that for us when you actually jumped her. What did you do?
We punched her and, just basically punched her.
According to Janelle, once she and the rest of Terrence McNeil's crew were inside the apartment, the confrontation with Tiffany escalated even further.
Now it's game on. They hold her down. They start to beat her. They start to hit her. They tie her up and they're saying, where's the money? Where's the money, bitch?
Tiffany said, you should know what we're talking about. There is no money.
Tiffany wasn't lying. There was no cash, but there was a case full of Terrence George's guns.
He says, I want those guns. And so he and the girls kind of load up the guns into the car, except they're not done. They want to take Tiffany too.
Please stop.
Get in. Get in.
Janelle tells police that after abducting Tiffany, they drove to a secluded area outside of town and dragged her from the trunk of the vehicle.
We were walking up the path. He asked her, why I'm doing it? And Tiffany was like, no. He said, well, basically, it's because you fucked up my whole life.
So he makes this dramatic speech and then he kills her. He does it in the most intimate way possible, with his bare hands.
After a while, she stops breathing, I guess. He's like, well, help me drag her over there. I'm like, I'm not touching her. And he pulls out his knife and yes, he was like, well, either you're going to help or you can join her.
Fearful for her own life, Janelle helped hide Tiffany's body. At this point, she hoped Terrence's crime spree was over, but apparently Tiffany's murder was just a warm-up act.
So what do we do now? Let's go back to the apartment with the guns. Let's wait for Terrence George to come home and let's kill him.
At approximately 5:30 a.m., Terrence George returned home, unaware of the evil waiting for him inside.
He came in and I just shut the door behind him. And then that's when he sees Black over here.
The police told me that while that guy was holding the gun pointed at him, my son went like this to move that gun out of his face. And as he reached out like that, that's when that guy pulled the trigger and it hit him in here. And it came out from his neck.
According to Janelle, Terrence George then fell to the ground, but he didn't die right away.
Terrence George gets up. Although he's been shot, he some kind of way manages, with blood and everything spewing out of his neck, he manages to get up and try to fight for his life.
All of a sudden, he has Tiara, like, holding her, like, you know, like, from the back.
Janelle claims at that point, Terrence George tried to flee the scene by using Tiara as a human shield. But Terrence McNeil had no plans to let his next victim leave the apartment alive.
Black shoots him again. After he shot him the second time, then that's when we left.
It's a shocking account of unspeakable violence. But is it the truth? The following morning, police track down the crime's third participant, Tiara Holmes, and bring her into custody.
It didn't take long for her to break down and confess and show remorse.
But once we got the confessions from Janelle Harris and Tiara Holmes, we then filed charges. McNeil's still in jail on the unrelated burglary, so he never was released at all.
In an effort to boost their case against Terrence McNeil, prosecutors offered Janelle and Tiara lighter sentences in exchange for their cooperation.
Tiara is offered a deal. She takes it for 35 years. Janelle is offered a deal for 50 years. She scoffs at it. She decides she's going to go to trial.
She took her chances and she went to trial, and she ended up with 2 life sentences.
There will be no plea deal offered to Terrence McNeil. Instead, in August of 2012, the case heads to trial. Prosecutors believe McNeil's motive for shooting Terrence George may have been a simple but disturbing lust to take another life.
He told 2 people that he got an erection when he was actually strangling her to death, and he wanted to have sex with her in the field right beside the body. He enjoyed killing. Case against Terrence McNeil, our theory was that he planned from the beginning to kill her. He felt like she was the one who caused him to be in jail.
He concluded that she was a snitch and he was going to get revenge.
As for Terrence George, the state argues this kind-hearted young man was little more than collateral damage.
If Terrence George isn't engaged to Tiffany Durst, there's no reason to suggest that he would have met with any ill will by Terrence McNeil at all. It was wrong place, wrong time.
When it's time for McNeil's attorney to present their case, they attempt to pin the crime solely on female co-conspirators Janelle Harris and Tiara Holmes.
They said it was the girls who were behind this, that it wasn't him. Not a very strong defense, but that's what they tried to claim.
His defense probably knew going into it that they had a tough hill to climb here. I don't think the jury deliberated long at all before they handed down their verdict.
He got 2 consecutive life without parole sentences, 1 for each victim.
For the family and friends of both Tiffany Durst and Terrence George, the verdict is a small but ultimately satisfying victory.
They're there for life, not to ever come out again.
I believe everybody got treated fairly. I say he got 2 life sentences. He's never going to get out and enjoy life again.
But that does little to ease the loss of 2 young lives before either could reach their full potential.
Remember her as love, because that's what she was about. She wasn't no gangbanger. She loved people. She was a beautiful lady.
The people that took away his life, they didn't care about my son. My son was a good person. He was smart. He was a loving person. It's hard. So, I miss him.
Tiffany, I wish that she was here. I think things would be better off if she was here. I do miss my best friend.
A beautiful young woman disappears without a trace.
It was an eye-opener. This is not a joke. It's for real.
You don't just vanish off the face of the planet.
The ensuing investigation leads both police and her family down a dark and dangerous road.
You do not know who these people are. These are known gang members.
If you give me $900 and I'll go get her, I will bring her back alive.
The case seems destined to remain unsolved until a surprise witness comes forward with a tale of forbidden desire and unspeakable depravity.
They didn't know she was there. So then when they left, she's freaking out.
Kind of have an idea of what you might see, but it was shocking.
Her only mistake was just falling in love with her evil.
It's Friday, November 19th, 2010 in Memphis, Tennessee. 50-year-old Jacqueline Smith is in a panic as she's been desperately trying to locate her 21-year-old daughter, Jacqueline Miller, for several days.
LaDonna, I'm so glad you're here. I still haven't heard anything from Jacqueline. Oh,
What? This is so unlike her. I haven't spoke to her since Tuesday. Not even a phone call.
Well, it's not like her to just wander away and never call and be gone for that long period of time.
Jacqueline's sister, LaDonna Garfield, is equally concerned about the welfare of her niece.
I kept calling her, kept texting her. I called all of her friends. You know, they started calling around and texting, and we didn't hear anything.
As the women reach out to young Jacqueline's entire circle of friends for clues to where she might be, they become increasingly concerned. There's no sign of her anywhere, even at the beauty salon where she's employed.
Her supervisor called us and saying Jacqueline hadn't been to work. And it was very unusual for her not to go to work because she loved her job and she loved the people that she was around.
She would never not go to work. And, you know, just no call, no show. This is just not her behavior. She would never do anything like that.
The two women immediately decide it's time to call the Memphis police and report young Jacqueline missing.
They tried to make me wait. I'm like, no, I can't wait 24 more hours. She's missing, and she's been missing for a few days.
They were saying, you know, she was an adult. She was 21, so I had to wait a certain amount of hours and this, that, and the other.
It's very common for adults in their 20s to go missing for a while, to disappear. But 99 times out of 100, they come back safe and sound.
You don't understand. That's not how my daughter is at all. Ask if you can speak with someone else.
These women, they were fairly persistent, and they were able to get some help ahead of the standard police timeline.
Sergeant Kathy Gooden, a missing persons investigator, is assigned to the case.
When's the last time you seen Jacqueline?
I was assigned the case. I thought it was just my typical missing persons case, and I thought she was just going to be gone for a couple of days and then return home.
But when Jacqueline's disappearance enters its third day, Sergeant Gooden begins to think Jacqueline might be in serious trouble.
I called Jacqueline's supervisor, and he said that if she doesn't show up to get her paycheck on Saturday, then it would be a concern. She will not miss picking up her paycheck.
And then as time went on by and we found out that she didn't go to work to pick her check up, we know she's not going to do without her money because she needs money to do whatever she's going to do. So that's when we knew something wasn't right.
My initial thought was that Jacqueline actually wanted to take a break and get away for a little while. When I first got the report, that was my initial thought. But as I continued to investigate on Sunday, when she did not pick up her check, I became alarmed.
When the day comes and goes, the police start to think, hey, something really bad might have happened here. So they launch a missing persons investigation.
But to learn the truth about what happened to Jacqueline, investigators would have to rely on anonymous tipsters, terrified witnesses, anxious family members, and old-fashioned, hard-nosed detective work.
You kind of have an idea of what you might see, but my first reaction, it was shocking.
The whole thing was horrible, but something that people were very, very interested in, and they wanted to know what happened to that young woman.
Jacqueline Miller was born on June 22, 1989, the only child of Jacqueline Smith.
She was a loving little girl. When she walked through the room, she lights the whole room up.
She has a very infectious smile, and she was very kind and outgoing, trying to help everyone.
She loved the color pink, so her friends started out calling her Pinky. It became a nickname for her.
As a small child, she didn't have very many friends.
She wore glasses, she had the braces, and her friends used to mess with her and tease her and call her Brie now.
But this all changed as Jacqueline entered her teen years and began spending time with her Aunt LaDonna.
She was my niece, but she became my baby. And we did everything together. We shopped together. Everywhere I went, she was there. She was with me so much that everybody thought that she was actually my child. My grandmother would get up at 4:00 in the morning and get fully dressed, hair, makeup, jewelry. That was something she instilled in me as a child. And I did that with Jacqueline as a child.
Oh, that is so cute.
Jacqueline soon went from being a wallflower to a confident, beautiful young woman.
It was just like she blossomed. She went from Jackie with the glasses to just this beautiful young adult.
Have you ever thought about doing something just different with your hair? Like, I was thinking if you take the front part,
okay,
and pin this way.
I like where you're going with this.
The time spent with her Aunt LaDonna cultivated a dream in Jacqueline of one day becoming a beautician, a vision she shared with her best friend and cousin, Janice Reed.
We had plans on making a career of doing hair and opened up our own salon, more than one, kind of like building a brand and a franchise for ourselves.
After graduating high school, Jacqueline and Janice took the first steps toward fulfilling their dream by enrolling in the New Wave Hair Academy.
That's when she knew for sure she wanted to become a salon owner with her cousin Janice.
Jacqueline was so focused on making her dream come true that she rarely had time for dating.
She wasn't interested into guys. She always wanted to keep her head straight for her school and her career.
But that changed in May 2009 when Jacqueline met 22-year-old classmate Richard Dickerson.
They were taking the same class together at the same time, same module. He immediately, took to her personality, and she took to his.
That looks amazing.
Thank you.
Do you mind giving me some pointers?
Sure.
At 6 feet 5 inches tall, Richard towered over the petite, bubbly Jacqueline.
Jackie liked tall, lean, athletic built guys, and he really fit into that category.
He was well-mannered, well-behaved. He would use yes ma'am, no ma'am. He would open her door, to let her in the car and all of that. So I was thinking, okay, maybe he's a good one.
Me and Jacqueline was talking about life, and she was just like, I love him so much. And she was telling me that was her first time ever being in love, and she liked the feeling.
But after 6 months of going steady, Jacqueline wondered if she needed to broaden her dating horizons.
Because Jacqueline hadn't really dated many boys before, she suffered from a bit of an ugly duckling complex. She really had no idea how gorgeous she was until all these guys started expressing interest in her as she started to blossom into her early 20s.
She never completely broke things off with Richard. She wanted things to be a little bit more casual. So she had the option of dating other people without too much drama. Honestly, she really didn't date anyone else, but she liked to have that door open.
Well, Richard wasn't crazy about this, but it wasn't like she was going out with every guy that had asked her out, so he put up with it, thinking she'd get it out of her system in time.
Richard and Jacqueline continued their casual arrangement throughout their time at New Wave Academy. After graduating near the top of her class, Jacqueline took a position at a salon where her styling skills garnered widespread acclaim.
Everyone in the city knew who Pinky was because they wanted Pinky to do their hair.
Frankly, dating took a backseat to her real focus, getting herself established and saving money so that she and her cousin Janice could eventually work together to open their own shop.
We just always had a dream of, owning a salon someday and becoming business partners. And we were just so excited. It was very important to both of us.
But just when it seemed things couldn't be going better for Jacqueline, she disappeared. It's now been 4 days, and there's no sign of where she might be. As the hours pass, her family is beginning to fear the worst.
Jacqueline's family is really starting to get concerned as the odds of finding her safe and sound diminish. Everyone's asking the same question. Where did Jacqueline Miller go?
Sunday, November 21st, 2010. It's been 4 days since talented 21-year-old hairdresser Jacqueline Miller went missing. While the Memphis PD has moved quickly to open a missing persons investigation, they aren't 100% positive that anything bad has happened to Jacqueline.
I have covered a lot of cases where families call, and they do say they would never do this. And they did do it. They just took off and didn't let their family know.
She's kind of a homebody, family-oriented person, but it was not uncommon for her to spend a night out, and she would spend a night out sometimes.
It's entirely possible that she had taken off on an impromptu road trip, or she had met a new man for whom she'd been keeping that door open.
Even so, Police Sergeant Kathy Gooden is doing everything she can to pinpoint Jacqueline's whereabouts. One of her first moves is to contact Jacqueline's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Richard Dickerson.
Thanks for coming in to meet me.
Anything to help. Something's happened to her, hasn't it?
Richard Dixon was very concerned when I spoke to him.
He's very distraught and tells Sergeant Gooden that he'd been searching for Jacqueline on his own for several days, and he also said that he'd been searching alongside her family as well.
I was talking to Richard every day, trying to keep him calm. We put flyers on every pole, every store, every business. We put flyers everywhere looking for Jackie.
Richard was calling constantly and talking to her aunt, LaDonna, and he would call every day and say, have you heard from her?
When's the last time you saw her?
Monday. Well, actually Tuesday.
Richard said that Jacqueline spent the night with him on Monday night. Tuesday, she got up earlier than usual. She took a shower. Everything was great. She was in a good mood. And she left for work Tuesday morning.
And that was the last time you saw her?
Yeah, she was supposed to come over Wednesday, but she never did.
And was that typical of her?
Yeah, she likes to keep me guessing. So.
Richard admitted his tendency to get clingy, and he also said Jackie would sometimes flake on him intentionally to try to get him to stop.
Was she seeing any other men that you know of?
Not that I know of. I mean, Jacqueline would talk a good game about dating other people, but her career was the most important thing to her. Salon was everything.
Sergeant Gooden pushes Richard for any additional information and for signs he might not be telling the truth.
In a missing persons case, the spouse or significant other of the person missing is usually one of the first people investigated.
I did believe that Richard was sincere about Jacqueline being missing.
He was genuine. He acted like he wanted to try to help us and find out what was happening with Jacqueline and all that. During the course of interviewing Richard, he provided several possible alibis of where he might have been. Of course, Sergeant Gooden wanted to follow up on those leads.
Police officers and detectives are generally good judges of character, and they have a sense of whether a person is really upset or just acting. And Richard seemed to be telling the truth.
Well, here's my card. Let me know if you hear anything else.
I will.
After speaking with Richard Dickerson, Sergeant Gooden can't help but wonder if Jacqueline had been the victim of a random crime.
Maybe she was driving down the street and got carjacked. Maybe she was at an ATM and got robbed. Maybe she was at the mall and somebody kidnapped her. Yeah, the theories are endless.
Adding credence to this idea is the fact that the area between Richard's house and Jacqueline's work has a reputation as a fairly dangerous part of town.
There's a lot of crime that happens over in that area. I used to work out there at night, and I didn't leave out of there alone. I made sure that, okay, someone's following me or someone's in the car with me or what have you.
Unfortunately, there are people that are just crazy killers. There are people that are sexual predators, and they will go on rape and leave their victim in another state.
I activated a city watch alert. I got the information on Jacqueline's vehicle, and I created a bolo. Be on the lookout for Jacqueline's vehicle. I wanted to get this information to the media as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, Jacqueline's family begins their own search.
Donna and I, we got together, we had the flyers made up, and we got together and we went around posting the flyers all in our neighborhoods and stores, passing them out to people. And we also drove around the city looking for it.
We were out day and night. We had no leads, none whatsoever. We were just all over the city looking, going from door to door, trying to find her. Day and night, barely stopped to eat. I wanted to find my baby. And I was willing to do whatever I could to find her.
In conjunction with the search efforts made by young Jacqueline's aunt and mother, it doesn't take long for the media blitz to yield a new lead.
It wasn't until we went to the news when we actually got people to actually trying to come forth with, things that they knew of what possibly could have happened to Jackie.
I got a call from an individual who said that several days after Jacqueline was reported missing, he actually saw her and a male in the Orange Mound area.
Orange Mound, it's a pillar in Memphis, but let's be honest, it can be real rough.
It was a very high drug infested prostitution area.
The sighting suggests that Jacqueline is still alive, but what was she doing in the Orange Mound area?
Nothing made any sense. This woman was missing. Anything could have happened.
And who was the mystery man with whom she'd allegedly been spotted?
Police had to find this man. He was the key to finding Jack.
Police in Memphis, Tennessee are investigating the disappearance of 21-year-old beautician Jacqueline Miller. After a mass canvassing effort, Detective Kathy Gooden has just received an anonymous tip regarding Jacqueline's whereabouts.
Hello?
She was with someone right in the middle of Orange Mound, and a lot of drugs go through that area. A lot of problems go through that area. And for some, quiet is kept. There's a little prostitution in that area. So you have to be absolutely careful.
Nobody could understand why she would be there and why she would be with some strange man.
You saw her yesterday in Orange Mound. Are you sure it was Jacqueline? What did the man look like? Hello? Hello?
But the tipster hangs up before he gives the police any really useful information beyond where the sighting took place and that the caller believed that the man was a gang member.
Believe it or not, it's pretty common for anonymous callers to be evasive like this, especially when there's some dangerous players involved.
The good news is, if the tip is accurate, that means there's a good chance Jacqueline's alive. The bad news is Orange Mound is rife with prostitution and drugs and gangs.
Sergeant Gooden follows up with her informants in the Orange Mound area, but none of them have any information about Jacqueline or the mystery man seen with her. But the sergeant has better luck when she circles back with LaDonna Garfield to make sure Jacqueline wasn't involved in any illicit activity.
She was not into drugs and all kinds of things. She wasn't a troubled person.
But LaDonna believes it's possible Jacqueline's disappearance could be gang-related.
She was receiving phone calls from Jacqueline's friends, and some of the friends told her that several gang members may have been involved in Jacqueline's disappearance.
Okay, did any of her friends give you any names of these gang members?
Yes, we're going to go meet with one right now.
You're going to meet with one of the gang members?
Yeah.
We were actually contacted by one of her friends that she had gone to high school with. He told me that he had been seeing her walk around in their neighborhood, which was very strange because that was something that Jacqueline was not into.
LaDonna explains she was told by Jacqueline's friend to meet him in person for more information and not to come empty-handed.
He said, if you give me $900, I'll go get her. And I said, tell me where she is. He said, you can't go there because it's too dangerous. I will bring her back alive.
The man said he had recently seen Jacqueline and that she was high on drugs.
And I said, well, high? What do you mean? Because she has never been known to do drugs. What do you mean high? He said, I think she was on something.
And I told Donald, look, let the police handle the investigations. You do not know who these people are. These are known gang members.
He just kept saying that he does this type of thing for a living. You know, this is what he does. He hunts people and he'll go get her.
Why don't you let us handle this?
Okay, but please don't do anything that could put Jacqueline at risk. I want to see my niece again.
Jacqueline's aunt gives her the man's information, and Gooden arranges a meeting with his gang contacts for that afternoon.
Have you guys heard of Jacqueline Miller?
Yeah, a little cute chick.
Yeah. I seen her with some friends of my cousin.
They seem at first to know some information about Jacqueline.
Yeah, it's the chick with the jeans on, you know, blue jeans.
Yeah, she drive that green car. It's a photo.
Okay, well, her family's looking for her.
I mean, is there a reward or something?
But after interviewing a couple of them, I realized that they didn't know anything about Jacqueline's disappearance.
Turns out almost every detail these guys were telling police came right off the missing persons poster or was something they'd seen in the news. What she was wearing, what kind of car she was driving, everything.
They were basically trying to extort money from the family.
Well, what's up with this $900 though?
I got an idea. Why don't I arrest both of you for extortion and false information to police? How about that?
Oh, hold on, lady. Shoot, we trying to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, we do know people that know where she is.
The two men claim they know Jacqueline's boyfriend, but as they're describing him, it becomes clear they're not talking about Richard Dickerson.
Contrary to what Richard believes, there certainly is another love interest in his girlfriend's life, and that is Malik Davis.
Malik Davis was an old school friend of Jacqueline Miller's, and he bumped into her at the salon by accident. But when he sees how beautiful she's become over the years, he starts pursuing her romantically.
Like Richard, he's also pretty tall and lean, over 6 feet. So physically, Malik was her type.
They started hanging out, and he actually wanted things to get more serious, but again, Jacqueline wanted to keep things casual.
While the relationship may not have been serious, it was definitely hot and heavy.
This revelation leads Gooden and the Memphis police to wonder if Jacqueline's disappearance was somehow connected to her relationship with Malik Davis, or Richard Dickerson, or both.
While Richard Dickerson had been removed from police suspicion, he hadn't been cleared entirely. Was it possible he learned about Malik and then unleashed a jealous rage on the woman he loved?
Likewise, it's not unrealistic to assume that maybe Malik was unaware of her relationship with Richard, and that when he found out about it, he acted out in some violent way.
Malik.
That same afternoon, Sergeant Gooden tracks down Malik Davis.
I understand that you and Jacqueline Miller were romantically involved.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
And when's the last time you spoke or saw her?
Tuesday. We went out for some drinks, had a pretty good time. I was actually supposed to get up with her Wednesday, but I haven't heard from her.
Wednesday? Are you sure?
He agreed that yes, she was supposed to see me, but she was no call, no show. So he actually did not see Jacqueline.
This is notable because this is also the same day and time that she was supposed to meet up with Richard, but didn't make it.
So now Sergeant Gooden can't help but wonder, which one of these men did Jacqueline Miller really intend to see that night?
And you haven't spoken with her since?
No. Is she all right? I've been trying to call for a couple of days now.
Like Richard, Malik was incredibly cooperative with police. He seemed legitimately concerned.
But is it possible that one of these young men is lying to police?
Malik tells Gooden he was at home alone during the time period that police were questioning him about. But without a verifiable alibi, he seems like more of a viable suspect than Richard Dickerson did.
The only way to really vet Malik's location is to collect his cell phone information. It wouldn't tell police if he was with anyone, but it would certainly verify with whom he was communicating and where he was.
Police submit a warrant to obtain Malik's phone records. But while they wait for a judge to approve it, they get another anonymous tip. One that may point to a possibility beyond either of Jacqueline's known lovers.
Someone said they'd seen Jacqueline's car parked at an apartment complex about a mile from where she worked. Had she met someone new?
Will this be another dead end? Or will what police find completely alter the course of the investigation?
As a journalist, the question from that point is no longer where is she, but how did this happen?
6 days after 21-year-old Jacqueline Miller was reported missing, police in Memphis, Tennessee receive a tip that her car has been spotted parked in an apartment complex roughly a mile from the hair salon where she worked.
This looks like it.
With it backed into the parking space, it becomes just a nondescript vehicle with no unusual markings, and no one can read the license plate because it's backed up against a fence.
But when officers get a closer look at the tag, they can see it well enough to run a check on it. And it's indeed Jacqueline's car.
Dispatch, can you let Detective Gooden know that we've located the vehicle?
The officers on the scene first theorized the car was parked there because it had been stolen during a robbery of some sort. But that was quickly thrown out.
Look, there's a purse in the back.
Why would the thief take the car and not the purse?
Nothing is missing off of the car or anything. You know, usually in a carjacking, somebody may take tires or somebody will take something off of it, you know, even parts of the car. But nothing was taken off of this car, so it couldn't have been a carjacking.
But the vehicle wasn't stolen. Why is it here? It is entirely possible that she started a new fling with someone in the area. The question is, who?
While officers pound the pavement in search of someone who might have seen Jacqueline, CSIs move her car away from the wall and begin the painstaking process of detailing Jacqueline's vehicle.
Crime scene investigators go over that car with a fine-tooth comb from outside to inside, dusted it for fingerprints, tried to get any sort of evidence they possibly could out of that car.
You getting in the vehicle yet?
We're getting ready to open it up now.
And when CSIs pop the trunk, they make a discovery that hits them like a punch to the gut.
She had a rope around her neck, clothes disheveled. She had defensive bruises on her arms. Fingernails were broken. It was clear that there was a struggle.
The body is identified as that of Jacqueline Miller.
I lost it. I just fell completely out. Thank God my family was around to catch me, but it was too much for me. My only child.
I broke down. I was hurt. I just couldn't believe that someone would do such a vicious act to a person.
She was beautiful, fabulous personality, and she ends up dead in her trunk with a rope around her neck. It's hard to wrap your head around something like that.
For Sergeant Kathy Gooden, the news of Jacqueline's death is also a hard pill to swallow.
I was devastated. And I was devastated for Jacqueline's mother. Not only was this her only daughter, it was her only child. It's a feeling that no one can understand unless you're being put in that predicament.
With the discovery of Jacqueline's body, Sergeant Kevin Lundy from the Homicide Bureau is assigned to the case.
It was shocking. I mean, you see this beautiful girl that's no longer with us. She's obviously been placed there against her will.
A rope was tied around her neck. The ends were cut very short, which would indicate that it was cut after it was tied.
This suggested that the killer was clever. They knew the rope might contain their DNA, and they wanted to remove it.
This seems like a well-orchestrated murder by someone who knew exactly what they were doing.
But for all their well-planned efforts to cover their tracks, the killer hasn't thought of everything.
It appeared that Jacqueline had a struggle with someone and her fingernails were broke, but what was left there, I wanted to be able to collect that DNA from under her fingernails.
There was also blood on the shirt as well as the panties that were found on the scene.
Samples are sent to the crime lab for analysis. Meanwhile, Sergeant Lundy redoubles the canvassing efforts around the area where Jacqueline was found.
The hope is to find anyone who may have seen anything of interest.
The amped-up search pays off when Sergeant Lundy learns the apartment complex has a courtesy officer named Fred Anderson.
His job is to maintain security and look for anything out of the ordinary on the parking lot.
Do you ever recall when this vehicle first arrived on the lot?
I do. I saw it pull in.
You did?
I sure did.
A security officer had noticed someone pulling in the apartment. He never had seen him before that day. And so that's what caught his attention.
Can you tell me what you saw?
Well, driver definitely was alone. It was a male.
Mr. Anderson gave a very detailed description of the person that got out of the car.
He was a tall guy, maybe 5'11", 6 feet, possibly. Pretty fit guy.
The description is one that doesn't exactly match Richard Dickerson or Malik Davis. And unfortunately, there's no surveillance footage of the complex. So making an ID off the information that Anderson provides is pretty much impossible.
The uncertainty leaves police unsure which way to go next with the investigation. But a series of strange revelations will soon help them bring a cold-blooded killer to justice.
She was hiding under the bed trying to scare him when he came in, confessing to him that he had killed Jackie.
Cell records, witness statements, everything backed up this bizarre story.
After finding the body of 21-year-old Jacqueline Miller in the trunk of her car, Memphis police have begun piecing together the series of events that led to her murder.
It's clear that Jacqueline's murder was not a random act of violence. A stranger would have shot her, not taken the time to use rope in such a brutal manner. This was someone who knew Jacqueline and felt a great deal of rage toward her.
Authorities also knew that she likely had to have been killed on Wednesday, a day that she was due to spend with both of the men in her life.
While Sergeant Kevin Lundy and his team are waiting on the results of crime scene DNA analysis, a judge has granted them access to Jacqueline's cell phone records, as well as those of Richard Dickerson and Malik Davis.
Richard's cell phone was off most of the day Wednesday, so it didn't seem like his cell phone records would be of much help.
But cell tower activity confirmed that Malik was essentially where he told police he was and never went anywhere near where the body was found.
But it's the activity of Jacqueline Miller's cell phone that sheds the most light on her whereabouts.
Jacqueline had actually called Richard several times during the day Wednesday and left a couple of voicemails about wanting to meet with him. That's made more interesting when police tracked her location.
She had actually gone to visit Richard at home on Wednesday afternoon, possibly to speak to him in person. We don't know if Richard was there, but we do know that shortly after arriving at his place, her phone was shut off.
It becomes even more suspicious when police note that Richard's cell phone is back on just a couple hours later. The first call he makes is to LaDonna Garfield asking if she's seen her niece.
The first thing that the police begin to think is maybe we skipped over the wrong person. Maybe we shouldn't have dismissed it. So they go back, and now they're looking at Richard in a new light.
With Richard Dickerson now the primary person of interest, police begin to seek out some of his friends for any new information.
Police start with the person closest to Richard, his best friend, Vincent Williams.
Vincent was Richard Dickerson's longtime friend. They confided in each other about just about everything.
Now, he's not of much help to police, but as they leave his house after questioning him, they're approached by his girlfriend.
The woman's name is Brittany Pearson, and what she tells police breaks the case wide open.
This is going to sound really, really weird, but I was at Vincent's house, and then Richard came over.
She was hiding under the bed. She was going to surprise her boyfriend. While she was hiding under the bed, she heard a conversation with her boyfriend, with Richard Dickerson.
Oh my God, I messed up, bro. I made a huge mistake.
Bro, what'd you do, bro?
My life is ruined, dog. I killed Jackie, bro.
Did what?
I killed Jackie.
She heard Richard crying and saying he didn't mean to do it. He went into great detail. He strangled her, put her in the car and all that.
What'd you do with the car?
I dumped it off in East Memphis at the apartment complex that Joey used to stay.
Oh, man.
She's shocked. Brittany's absolutely shocked.
They didn't know she was there. So then when they left, she's freaking out. Brittany hightailed it out of that apartment. She didn't want them to know that she was under that bed and hearing this.
And I was so scared and I didn't know what to do. I thought that if I said something that he would kill me too. So I waited 3 days and then I called the police.
You did?
Yes, I made the phone call anonymously.
She went to a payphone outside of her neighborhood, dressed in different clothing, and she called that hotline where you call to make a tip and told them what she had heard.
Putting two and two together, investigators realized it was Brittany Pearson who called with that anonymous tip about Jacqueline's car being parked at the apartments. After speaking with Brittany, Sergeant Lundy obtains a search warrant for Richard Dickerson's home. While executing that warrant, they make a significant discovery in his tool shed of all places.
From a human eye, it appeared to be the same rope that was also around Jacqueline's neck.
So they take that rope and they submit it to the crime lab to be compared to the rope that was found around Jacqueline's neck.
After delivering the rope to the crime lab, Sergeant Lundy brings Richard Dickerson in for a second interview.
First, he was genuine. He acted like he wanted to try to help us and find out what was happening with Jacqueline.
Thank you for coming in and talking with us.
You know, I'll do anything to help find out who did this.
Once we got Richard obviously up to the office, he was trying to make an alibi of what had happened. So we started presenting inconsistencies to him as relates to his stories.
States in Sergeant Gooden's report the last time you saw Jacqueline was last Tuesday.
Yeah, we took a shower together, and then I went to the store. When I got back, she was going to work.
That's not what it says here.
So where were you between 10 and 11 a.m.?
I went to the convenience store to get some smokes and something to eat, and I went back home.
It says here you told Detective Gooden that you were at a friend's house. So which is correct? Or are they both lies?
It's clear to Sergeant Lundy that Richard Dickerson is not being entirely forthcoming. But without concrete evidence tying him to Jacqueline's murder, they can file no formal charges.
We didn't have the evidence at that time to prove that Richard killed Jacqueline Miller.
What detectives can do is keep Dickerson on a 48-hour administrative hold, while the inconsistencies in his story are examined more fully.
You stand up on me, please.
We sent several investigators, but there was no video. No one ever saw him there. So clearly he was lying.
Making matters worse for Richard, while they process him to be placed in a holding cell, police find something unusual.
A person from the jail found a note in his shoe.
The note was sort of a cheat sheet for what he was going to tell the police.
Basically, he wrote out a plan of how he was going to have alibis to cover what he did. If they ask me this is what I'm going to say.
Armed with this information, detectives interview Richard for a third and hopefully final time.
Can you tell me about this? Looks to me like a list of alibis.
Out of the clear blue, he jumps up and grabs that note and starts ripping it to shreds.
Now you got nothing, so what are you going to do now?
I still have a copy of the note.
And after that, he was through talking to us.
Though Sergeant Lundy has a strong circumstantial case against Richard, they still lack the hard physical evidence that will give prosecutors the ammunition they need to formally charge him with murder.
There were no fingerprints found on the car. It's very difficult to pull fingerprints from the outside of a vehicle because so many people touch it.
While there was no DNA recovered from the rope found inside Dickerson's house, the lab was able to get a partial DNA profile from the rope found around Jacqueline's neck. And that was consistent with Richard, but it was not conclusive.
But when police received the final report on the DNA recovered from the clothing Jacqueline was wearing at the time she died, they hit pay dirt.
The blood that was found in the panties of Jacqueline was not hers, but Richard's.
That's how they were able to tie him to the crime.
On November 26, 2010, 9 days after Jacqueline Miller first disappeared, police charged Richard Dickerson with first-degree murder. But prosecutors know the case is anything but a slam dunk. And as the case heads to trial, a shocking revelation about Jacqueline's love life threatens to derail the entire proceeding.
Jackie was kind of quiet about the fact that she was going through these things, but sometimes she would come home with visible bruises.
I was like, Jackie, why are you still hanging out with him? She was like, 'cause I love him. He told her that he was going to change, and that's what she believed.
In November 2010, prosecutors in Memphis, Tennessee have charged Richard Dickerson with the brutal murder of his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Jacqueline Miller.
Between hard forensic evidence, cell records, the cheat sheet found on Richard, and witness testimony, everyone felt this was going to be a really strong case. Still, though, it wasn't without its challenges.
Nobody can place him at the car at the time of the crime. The timeline is murky, plus juries can be pretty unpredictable.
As the trial date approaches, prosecutors dig into Richard and Jacqueline's relationship, hoping to find further proof of Richard's proclivity for violence.
Jacqueline was so beautiful and probably garnered a lot of attention, and I don't think Richard really knew how to take all that.
He was controlling. He didn't really want her to do anything with her friends. He didn't want her to have male friends.
It looked really good.
Thank you. So do you. I like it. What you doing after here?
Yes. What are you doing?
What the hell are you doing talking to him?
I know him from high school.
I don't like him.
What's your problem?
According to investigators with the DA's office, over time, Richard's petty jealousy morphed into full-fledged physical abuse.
One such occasion was outside of a relative's house when Jacqueline tried breaking up with Richard.
She proceeded to walk up the driveway, and Richard grabbed her by the neck and, choked her down to the ground.
I told you not to turn your back on me.
You crazy!
Jacqueline runs into the house, but she kept that incident, along with many others like it, a secret from all but a few close friends.
I was like, Jackie, why are you still hanging out with him? She's like, 'cause I love him. You know, this is how people get killed. Going back, she said he is dangerous, but I'm going to be okay.
On July 20th, 2012, in a Shelby County courtroom, the state of Tennessee versus Richard Dickerson begins. Prosecutors open by presenting accounts of the physical abuse Jacqueline suffered at Richard's hands. Then, step by step, they spell out what they believe happened the day Jacqueline was murdered.
The coroner was able to determine that she had been killed sometime on Wednesday the 17th, the same time she was set to visit both Richard Dickerson and Malik Davis. Prosecutors felt she was planning to eventually see Davis, but wanted to end her relationship with Dickerson first.
She had driven her car to his house, parked out in front, went inside.
I can't do this with you.
What do you mean you can't do
I'm
this?
done.
You dumping me?
I'm done.
Prosecutors alleged that she was basically breaking it off with him at that point, and that he snapped and told her, if I can't have you, no one else is going to have you.
Who the hell do you think you are?
She was going to leave him, and he's going, no, you're not. I'm going to kill you rather than let you leave. He gets a rope. He puts it around her neck, tight enough, and ties it so that she's not going to live. And then he put the body in the trunk and disposed of it. Then he drives it to an apartment complex on the other side of town. And then he has the thought, oh, they can see her license plate. So he turns around and goes back to the car, pulls it out, backs it up close to the fence, where he's seen by Mr. Anderson.
When it's their turn, Richard's defense team doesn't dispute the fact that their client killed Jacqueline Miller, but they put their own spin on why he did it.
His defense was, I didn't mean to kill her. I didn't do this on purpose. I just snapped, and she ended up dying.
To support their claim, they call Richard himself to the witness stand.
He said Jacqueline was a very violent person and that she would beat him up all the time. And he said she had come over to the house to talk about their relationship, and she told him that she wanted to break up with him. He said they argued about that, and she started to beat him up again.
Basically, he was trying to make it seem like it was self-defense.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you. You embarrassed me out there in public. You're such a punk, damn man. Maybe I'm here.
Please don't leave.
Tough story for a guy who is 6'5" and 205 pounds to sell about a woman who's 5'5" and 120 pounds trying to hurt him, because physically he can overpower her quite easily.
If he was really trying to restrain her from swinging at him, it seems like he could have done it somehow differently than sit on top of her and tie that rope around her neck.
While Richard's story seems improbable, his performance is award-worthy.
He sat up there, hung his head, was so sad. He'd act like he was wiping tears, whether they were really there or not, I don't know.
He was just acting all erratic and just, he was crying and shaking and rocking.
Jacqueline's friends and family aren't buying his performance for 1 minute.
Richard claimed that he loved her and they were just having a misunderstanding, but we all knew different.
Apparently, so does the jury. Sort of. They find Richard Dickerson guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder.
When I heard the verdict, I was very upset. It was not what I expected.
Second-degree murder charge was just not right. It should have been first degree because I believe it was premeditated.
The judge sentences Richard to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole, nearly the strictest sentence the charges allow. But for Jacqueline's family, it's still not enough.
You taking a life, they should have given him life. 25 years is short compared to I have a lifetime of dreams with her.
He's probably going to get out when he's about 50. And I can understand why they're unhappy with that. But I understand how juries think too. And that is a heat of passion crime. And you obviously have a passionate situation when you have people breaking up.
He didn't only just take away a person. He changed. He altered everyone's lives. The family, friends, children, everyone. She had dreams and goals and she knew what she wanted to do, and he took her away from us.
For a lot of women, they want love. They want someone who's going to go and sweep them off their feet. They look for tall, dark, and handsome. No one says tall, dark, handsome, and violent. We say to ourselves, well, that couldn't happen to me. No, it can happen to you. It can surprise you.